Hello friends, welcome. This is Wendy with Love and Stampin'. I am excited you're here today. We are going to be using two stamp sets today. We're going to use this Happy Camper stamp set, and then we're also going to use, I wanted to show you this cute Night Divine set, but we're not going to use that. We're going to use the Elfin Christmas stamp set, and we are going to go from making a really simple, basic, one layer scene card to advanced. So stick with me. We're going to have a lot of fun here. All right. We're going to start out with the Elfin Christmas. And this is our basic or simple one layer card. I don't know if you could qualify this as a scene necessarily, but I mean, he's standing with presents, so we're going to go with it. So I decided to use the elf that has a couple of presents at the bottom next to him. We're going to stamp him and the sentiment on a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 cardstock. This, in my mind, is the easiest way to make a one layer scene card. This is basic and simple. You have an image, you have a sentiment. All of it's stamped on one layer. It's what you do with your coloring that is going to make this card amazing. Now, I want to say for those who maybe are not experienced in coloring or Copics aren't your thing, it's okay. They don't have to be. You can 100% color with colored pencils. You could do watercolor. You can color just plain with alcohol markers. You don't have to do shading. None of that's a requirement. It's just maybe elevate your card a little bit, but ultimately, this card would be just as cute, just colored with one color, meaning like just a red for his hat and his coat, just a green and a pink for the ornaments. I chose to do a bunch of shading because I find joy in that. I absolutely love the finished look of all that fun shading. So for me, it's been a worthwhile effort to learn how to do all of this and continue to learn this skill. But if that is not something you're into, that's okay. We're going to use some cranberry cardstock, cut it 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and that card is finished. I'm going to show it to you at the end. But that was it. Just color an image, stamp an image underneath, a sentiment underneath, and you're done. Now, I will talk a little bit more about that card at the end because I show both of them to you side by side, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. I know that kind of ended abruptly there. But this card was a lot of work, and this card took a lot of thought process. So I really wanted to get to this one because as you could see on the first one, and this is what I have to say, like on that first card that we made with the elf, I could stamp, 20, 25 of those, take those markers with me into the house where my studio's outside of my house. I could take them in the house with me. I could go on a trip. I could do anything and sit and color those, and I would have some beautiful Christmas cards to send. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that first card that we made. It's adorable. The image is adorable. These images are from Pajama Crafter Stamps, if I didn't say that in the beginning. And honestly, I think this is one of the cutest releases that Joy has ever put out. I am obsessed with these bears and this whole campfire situation happening with the s'mores and the chips. First of all, the bear with the chips is after my own heart because I am a chip fiend. So let's talk about the masking here for this one layer scene that is more advanced. Anything you want to appear in the front needs to be stamped first. Then you mask it, then you stamp the next layer. Then you mask it, then you stamp the next layer, which is what you see me doing here. I'm masking, I'm stamping. I'm masking, I'm stamping. And that builds a scene. Now I'm going to use my little T-square ruler from Misty. These are my favorite T-square rulers because they don't have a lip on them. So when you line them up and you put them down, your pencil or your marker goes straight all the way across, and you're only going to know what I'm talking about if you've ever experienced what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'll link all this stuff below. I'm going to link these stamp sets below, and I will link the ruler below. So these little bears, the one that has the chips, this one's like my best friend. I named him Dorito because I am a chip fiend. I love chips. They are my Achilles heel. I literally cannot have them in the house because I'll eat a whole bag. It's embarrassing. So I just love the bear with the chips. And then I love the bear with the marshmallow because we do s'mores every year. S'mores is one of my favorite little treats. We have a fire pit in our backyard and I absolutely love roasting. Well, let me be honest. My husband roasts my marshmallow because he roasts the perfect marshmallow and I love how he does it. So I always make him roast my marshmallow, but favorite. It's a favorite fall wintertime treat and we have them every year. So here I'm drawing in a tree trunk for this tree that I stamped a little higher than the other one. Same exact tree. I just stamped it a little taller because I didn't want the trees to appear exactly the same height. I love how this scene came out. You saw a little earlier, I was using some misty grid paper to kind of draw out or sketch out what I was going to do. I really recommend that. I think it's very helpful. And here I used my Copic multi-liners to go over my pencil marks. And now I'm creating my scene. So we're going to start with ink blending. Around that fire is where things would be the brightest. That glow from that fire is what's going to give me my light source. As it gets further out, it's going to be darker. So I used black soot around the outside edges and some Villainous Potion. And then I used, I think, squeezed lemonade and some other colors coming in. So I just kind of went from this yellow to orangey to pinkish to purplish hue all around the edges. I then splattered the top with ink or water, and then I'm going to come in and splatter a little bit of Copic opaque, what is it called? It's not ink. I don't know what it's called. It's like a paint. So I could have some like stars in the sky. That's what I was going for here. Stars in the sky. So I just got this nice and wet, and then I went in, used a clear block and splattered the background. And all of my masks are still in place. So you're not going to see any of these splatters on top of my images that I've stamped. One of the most fun things about a one layer scene card is peeling away the masking paper. For this masking paper I used from Altenew, and I personally think this is fantastic masking paper. I never have a problem with it. And here I'm just peeling it all away, and underneath you see this awesome scene that we have built. Until you peel away the masks, you don't really get the vibe for the scene. So that part is super, super fun. So I'm just using the tip of my scissors to carefully peel everything off. I don't use my fingernails because I paint my nails with regular nail polish, and if you pick and put it across, sometimes it will come off. Here I'm going in with a black marker, or actually this is a C9, I think, and just filling in any spots that weren't covered. And then I'm going in and creating shadows. So I want to apologize for my lighting here. I spent a really late evening doing this, and the sun started going down. And then I lost a bunch of footage. So you missed seeing me color a whole bunch of these bears, but let me just fill you in on what's going on. You might notice that the one side of the trees, the fronts of the bears, they are all lighter and have shadows much, much darker behind them. That's because our light source is that fireplace. You also might notice that under the fire, I have it really nice and light on the ground because it would be light. Is this perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's good. It's pretty good, right? I was pretty proud of myself. I really thought this out on my sketch. I really paid attention to where the shadows would be. And I was really proud of how this whole scene card came together. These are a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. A one layer scene card with a specific light source can be challenging. You really have to think about things, but they are so satisfying and gratifying when you're finished with them. So after I finished all of my coloring, I decided to use the sentiment that says, not here for a long time, but for a good time. If you are a country music fan, you know that song. And I love that song. So I thought that I would stamp this here. And I think I'm going to give this to my husband for our anniversary, because that saying kind of just encompasses who he is as a person. And we are celebrating this week, are celebrating 18 years of marriage. Then I went around with my black soot again and I darkened things up even a little more because I just didn't feel like they were dark enough on the outside. The outside would be really dark, right? So this is the finished product of what you're only seeing in a few minutes. It took me an hour and a half to color. So just for some perspective, it took me an hour and a half to color this whole thing. And then I'm going to go in with some pajama crafter stamps, gems, and add those. I love these. They come in a little bag. They are super cute. These ones were perfect for this night sky scene, just to give us a little bit more twinkle. And this card is basically finished. I add a little bit of shimmer and this card's done. Okay, let's talk about the differences here. The first card took me maybe 20-ish minutes. The second card took me an hour and a half. They're both super cute. I'll definitely use both of them and mail them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments below. Or if you would like to see a video where I slow down my coloring and talk you through my coloring a little more, let me know. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.